Hey guys, this is Candle, and welcome to a new Let's Play. Yes, we are finally doing, if you don't recognize this symbol, or if you haven't checked the the title, we're finally doing Riven. I promised this game a long time ago, and there's a new remake coming sometime this year, so we're going to be playing the classic one now, and hopefully the new remake when that comes out. So this is the sequel to Myst. It's actually part of the title. Riven, the sequel to Myst, is the full title. So yeah, let's just jump into it. I'm really excited for this. I haven't played this in a long time. Yeah. Published by Ubisoft, as it was back in the day. It's created by Cyan.
Thank God you've returned. I need your help. There's a great deal of history that you should know, but I'm afraid that I must continue my writing. Here. Most of what you'll need to know is in there. Keep it well hidden. For reasons you'll discover, I can't send you to Riven with a way out. But I can give you this. It appears to be a linking book back here to Dunny. But it's actually a one-man prison. You'll need it, I'm afraid, to capture Gan. Once you've found Catherine, signal me, and I'll come with a linking book to bring us back. There's also a chance, if this all goes well, that I might be able to get you back to the place that you came from.
All right. And in we go. Yes, Riven. Oh, I got goosebumps. All right, so I haven't played this in a long time, and I am not nearly as familiar with this game as I am Myst. So, well, that's not good. Hello? Hello? Anybody there? Well, there's somebody. Hey. Hey, you. Over here. Hello.
Yo? Feriaje. Kakaware po. Modu wipo me po. Tagema. Rekoak. Tagema musu rekoa. Wisirapo. Wisirapo. Umutika boku wa nai. Wisirapo.
Yeah, dude, I have no idea what you're saying.
Boku wa nai. Wisirapo. Boku wa nai. Boku wa nai. Boku wa nai. Boku wa nai.
Oh, he just stole our book. I think that's one Atrus just gave us, too. And he was hit by something? Hello? Hey, who's out there? Oh, come on. Okay. Some kind of ninja? And they took the book too. Awesome, but at least they let us out. So yeah, as I was saying, I am not nearly as familiar with this game as I am with Myst. That one I can beat in like 3 hours, just beat in an afternoon. This one, it's a much larger game to begin with. For one thing, Myst was on 1 disc, Riven was on 5, which actually makes a lot of sense once you better understand the story too. Well, yeah, this is where we just were. So I may end up getting stuck and having to look around, look up a guide or something. But, ooh, excuse me, I will be checking things out as much as I can, doing the best as I can. So there's a little dagger here, which is keeping this lever in place. But yeah, the good thing about Myst and the Myst franchise is it's all environmental and logic puzzles. Environmental puzzles and logic puzzles. So like here, there's like a combination. I have no idea what it is. Can't do anything here yet. Nope. No. Alright. So yeah, we don't have free look in this. This is still entirely point and click, screen-based, like the original Myst was. The only version that plays like that exclusively now is, for Myst 1, is the Masterpiece Edition. I mean, you could track down the Classic Edition, but good luck getting that to run on a modern computer, considering it requires, what, QuickTime 4 or something like that? Which I don't even think is, like, in here at all, but yeah, it was designed for QuickTime. And it has not since been ported or re-released in a long time. Mostly because the Masterpiece Edition is basically the same as Myst Classic, just like, higher resolution, more colors, that kind of thing. And then the real Myst versions, I think they include a point-and-click option, but it's supposed to be your just kind of free roaming. And then Myst 2020 is built from the ground up for VR. You can play it in 2D, and you can play it with point and click, I think, as well as teleport in VR. But yeah. So it's mostly just like explore, figure out what's going on. So we're rotating this room. All right. And so now we have an alcove here, which just gives us a look of what's in here. This is a pentagonal room, I would assume. Yeah, the number 5 is very central to the world of Myst, let alone the story, too. Alright, so we got another one. Okay, so we can see there's an entrance there. There was another one, like, over here, right? What did the other one say? I think. Oh, we have a book down here. We'll take a look at that in a bit. I want to get this room turned back around. Alright, does this open back up, but going to the left now? Yes, but it's a closed... they're all closed. Okay, so let's go in here. So yeah, that's closed. There's a door back there. Alright. So that is written in Dunny, but of course I can't read Dunny. You don't actually need to read Dunny in order to get through this game. But yeah, we'll investigate this in a moment, but let's take a look at this book. This is the journal Atrus gave us at the beginning that should give us more information about what's going on. 87-610. They held for more than 30 years, but the corrections I made to Riven have finally failed. The island has resumed the familiar pattern of decay that is the hallmark of my father's work. I must now race to implement this new patch before it's too late. I only hope that my revised theories are sound. 87-616. Revisions to Riven completed. There are still a number of minor adjustments which need to be made, but the basic corrections have been entered and should be working. Something's not right. I've been monitoring the instruments for several hours now, but have thus far observed no change. It's possible that I've made an error, though I've checked my entry against my pre-notation and can find no discrepancy. I've not had a rest in nearly 3 days, so it may be that I'm just not seeing it. If the fault is with my foundational assumptions, however, perhaps after a short rest I will see something. So, basically, yeah, this is Atrus's journal, and Riven was a world created by his father through the art. Much how the all the various ages we went to in Myst 1, including Myst itself, were written by Atrus. His father wrote Riven, and apparently Atrus is much better with the art than his father is. 87-618. Success! It appears that my repairs have been effective after all. The gateway image has become noticeably clearer, and although it is impossible to know this with absolute certainty, the island seems to have quieted itself. Just a few more weeks of work, and I should be free, at last, to go there myself and attempt to bring Catherine back. The past 8 months have left me with little time to think, to devise a strategy for getting her out of there. I've received no sign from her in all that time. I'm afraid that no, I must assume that she is all right, lest my fears undermine my efforts to bring her back. Catherine is Atrus's wife. She's actually originally from Riven. So, yeah. 87-619. I did not create the Age of Riven. Unlike my father, I have never presumed to have such power, and yet the future of all those who live there has fallen into my hands. So far, I've managed to read the page before it turns. The island continues to appear stable, and I would like to believe that I have saved a dying world, but the theories of one individual cannot support the lives of real people indefinitely. I must get everyone off of Riven as soon as possible. So, basically, this is Atrus saying that, my father sees himself as a god because, we have this ability and to write books that link us to other real worlds. And basically, Atrus's father is like, oh, I wrote this book, I created this world, I am a god. Whereas Atrus is trying to take the more, it's a bit more semantics, but he's trying to take the approach of, no, we don't actually create these worlds as much as we envision them and set the rule sets and stuff. What we're really doing is just describing a book that will link us to a world that already exists. So it's mostly semantics and kind of a chicken before the egg kind of thing, whereas, Gen is like, oh, this world did not exist until I wrote this book, whereas Atrus is more of the view that, oh, this world existed somewhere in the cosmos, but we had no way to get there until we wrote this book that described this world, and we're able to link there through it. The problem now is Gen. I'll never be able to rescue Catherine and relocate the islanders if he is still the man he once was. I haven't seen him in over 30 years, but his history forces me to assume that he is still a threat. His myopic mission to restore the Dunny civilization has left too many innocent cultures dying in its wake, and would continue to do so were he to once again be free of the confines of Riven, or the Fifth Age as he coldly titled it. And of course, Gen is Atrus's father. He called Riven the Fifth Age because it was the fifth book he wrote. And he doesn't really respect the inhabitants of it, who call their world Riven. Atrus, he'll name worlds that he finds, that he writes that are uninhabited. But if the inhabitants already have a name for that world, he'll call it that way. It's like, Earth you would call Earth and not, Soul 3. So, the universe has been safe from his corruptive influence for the last 33 years because no one has been able to leave that age, the last linking book out of Riven having been lost in the Star Fissure upon my return to Mist. That would be the linking book that we found and that took us to Mist in the first place. That was my intention, to maroon my father on Riven by removing all the existing links to other worlds. And since the art of constructing books has long been lost with the fall of the Dunny, he would be trapped there for the remainder of his lifetime, and effectively segregated from the countless other worlds that he would have invaded. So basically, the Dunny, they're the ones who discovered the art and basically were able to make these magic books that would link to other worlds, and Atrus and Gen are inheritors of that. I mean, they are actually ethnically Dunny to begin with. But how am I trying to say this? Since the Dunny civilization has fallen, there's very few Dunny left. They're all really scattered. In fact, Atrus only knows of himself and his father, especially now that his grandmother is dead. Although I'm not entirely sure she was originally Dunny to begin with. I might have to look that up. It may have been Atrus's grandfather that came to Dunny, and his grandmother was originally Dunny. I don't remember. But either way, the art of creating new books, creating the actual tomes themselves, the sheaves of paper and everything has been lost. Whereas, Gen and Atrus, they have the ability to write the new books. They need the blank books to start with. And so, Gen being trapped away from the ruins of Dunny, which is where Atrus's study is. That's where we met him at the end of Mist and at the beginning of Riven. Is in the ruins of Dunny. Gen being trapped on Riven has no access to more books through which to create new worlds that he can go and explore and leave Dunny behind. He would be trapped here for the remainder of his lifetime and effectively segregated from the countless other worlds that he would have invaded. In effect, that is what we achieved, but the way it fell, however, was no one's ideal. Though the string of the incident was gradually faded from my memory, the deep pain of the responsibility for what actually came to be has never left me. At the time, it all seemed so clear. Gen's destructive path could not be allowed to continue, but it was never my choice that the innocent inhabitants of Riven, who had already suffered so much, would be the ones to pay for it. Enough. To dwell in the past is to die in the present. The situation is not the same as it was then. The knowledge I've acquired in the years since that time has yet to be applied to this problem. 87-620. I think I have the solution. Why it did not occur to me sooner, I do not know, unless the idea of it had been pushed out with the thought of my sons. A prison book. Many years ago, during a hunting expedition through the ruins of Dunny, I chanced upon a formula for a most unusual type of book. Unfortunately, due to the fact that my father was then in the habit of confiscating my discoveries, I was forced to leave it behind. Years later, however, as part of my efforts to protect the vulnerable worlds linked to the books in my library, I was pleased to find that I could still recall most of the formula, and with a little experimentation, quickly succeeded in creating one of these devices myself. The procedure is actually quite simple. By altering key lines of text, but slightly, a normal linking book's connection can be partially severed, such that anyone who attempts to use the book will be permanently trapped in the dark void of the link. That is, unless someone else then uses the book, at which point the person would become trapped and the first person displaced back into the world. The technique can be applied to books that have already been written, changes to the original text being so slight that anyone who is unfamiliar with the code will be unable to detect them. If indeed my father has not changed, what better bait could there be than a book that has appeared to link back here to Dunny? Alright, so again, this kind of explains better what happened in Mist, where you had Cirrus and Akinar, Atrus's sons, trapped in prison books, and they were kind of trapped in that void. This is later retconned by Mist 4, and the way prison books work is later retconned by Mist 4, and actually, no, not necessarily. Not necessarily, because we don't know specifically what happens when Atrus goes to, quote-unquote, deal with his sons. All we know is when we return to the library in Mist, the books are gone. and there's like scorch patterns left behind. Up until Mist 4, it's implied that Atrus burned the prison books that contained his sons, but he might have actually gone back to quote unquote fix them and turn them from regular, well, maybe, but turn them from regular prison books back into regular linking books that, you know, they were just trapped on those worlds because they had no way to link back to Mist or to other worlds. That it's possible, but I don't know for sure. The Mist 2020 remake did retcon the red and blue books to include the icons on them signifying what age they link to in Mist 4, but Sirius and Akinar, when you talk to them, still show up in that same original colored void. And in fact, when you get, if you choose the bad endings, even in Mist 2020, you get trapped in that void yourself. And it's actually really cool in VR because you're in this big expanse of like red or blue, depending on which ending you got, staticky clouds, kind of like what you see in the background when you talk to Sirius and Akinar. And you're standing in the midst of this void, and then there's this gigantic panel up in the sky where you're looking up at the linking panel, seeing out into the world of Mist, and, Sirius or Akinar, they taunt you and destroy the book, making it, worse and worse, so that you can never escape either, now that they're free. And so it's possible that that's what happened. Again, it was implied so this actually even does a little bit of a retcon itself, now that I think about it, because it was implied in Mist 1 that the reason why the Sirius and Akinar got trapped was because Atrus had designed these books as traps by taking out a single page of the books and hiding them somewhere so that he didn't have to so that they would be trapped. They wouldn't be able to link back because they didn't have all the pages. And in fact, that's how Sirius and Akinar were able to trap Atrus and Dunny, because they took a single page from his Mist linking book. However, I don't think that's entirely the case. So, because again, this would imply that, they were specially designed books to begin with that you didn't have to take pages out of in order to turn them into trap books, prison books, which again, just the intricacies involved, because this actually really does this, and then Mist 4 goes a long way to explaining the discrepancies between why Sirius and Akinar were trapped in the void within their respective linking books, whereas Atrus was just in his Dunny study, unable to return. Although it wasn't the book linking to Dunny that had the page missing, it was the book linking back to Mist. So maybe if Atrus had tried to link back to Mist, he would have been trapped much like Sirius and Akinar had been, and it was just, he was more aware of what was going on. Like he since it was his own personal Mist linking book, he realized, oh, there's a page missing. Well, shit, I can't use this to get back now. I don't know. There's a lot to think about, It's a really intricate world, and I would love to see Cyan return to it. I'm hoping, alongside their other projects, because they're still working on Foundation. That hasn't come out yet. I'm hoping alongside their other projects that they will remake Mist 3, 4, and 5, though they didn't originally make Mist 3 or 4, so I don't know whether or not they'll do those. I would love to see them remake Uru as well. Especially as, a proper single-player game, because that was meant to be an MMO. But yeah, I just went on this massive tangent. Let's get back to this journal. 8772, Trouble. My nightly analysis of the island's condition has revealed that the tremors have begun again. The pattern, however, is new. The disturbances are the result of the changes I have made. This did not, at first, concern me. However, tremors of this type were one of the possible side effects that I had anticipated during this initial phase of the island's readjustment. Still, in order to verify my assumptions, I decided to calculate again, incorporating the new data. The results were not what I expected. The damage to the understructure is more extensive than I'd realized. I can no longer go to Riven as planned. Catherine, forgive me. 8773. I must act while I still have the time. The signs are barely visible, but there's no question that the island's deterioration is accelerating. Total collapse is imminent unless I can keep ahead, and that is becoming increasingly difficult to do. 8775. With every passing moment, I gain a clearer picture of the incredible chaos that my father's economy of words has yielded, but it is a dismaying process. The complexity of the problem is overwhelming. There is no end to this. The last few days have all but convinced me that the collapse of Riven is inevitable, and that, at best, I can only strive to delay it now, and hope that at some point the island will become stable enough to risk a rescue attempt. 8777. I think I've come up with a way to subdue the tremors. It will require my exclusive attention for at least a month or two, so it may be necessary to discontinue these journal entries for a while. 87-713. Something truly miraculous has happened. Beyond all conceivable probability, someone has finally found my lost missed linking book and has freed me from this prison. I immediately realized that this could be the solution to my dilemma, and I believe my mysterious benefactor is willing to assist me. I'm still not sure it can work. The logistics of such a scheme are formidable, but the mere fact that it may now be possible for me to continue my repairs to Riven and yet proceed with my original intent to find Catherine has given me renewed hope. So it's only a week afterwards that, and now, that's the events of Mist have taken place. And in fact, we are the same character who is never given a name. They're only ever in lore referred to as the player, basically. 87-716. The last few days have left me little time to work out the remaining problems with sending someone else to Riven. It did occur to me, however, that if a way could be found to signal me once Gen has been captured, it would no longer be necessary to take a real linking book to Riven and risk the possibility of inadvertently releasing Gen. The deteriorated state of the gateway image makes the use of a visual signal impossible, but the picture remains a reliable indicator of Riven's condition nonetheless. By measuring and interpreting variations in the noise patterns, I am still able to observe basic changes that occur in the age, even though I cannot see them. The problem is that my instruments can only detect changes that occur on a fundamental level, and it seems unlikely that an individual could effect such an elementary change from within an age. The idea may be foolish. Still, there is a known weakness that may be worth investigating, an anomaly that appears as a rift between two separate systems, the star fissure. But how, or even if this fact could be exploited, I cannot say. Sending someone to Riven also means that once I received the signal that they were ready to return, I would have to leave my writing in order to take a real linking book there myself. However, provided my father was safely out of the way, this should take very little time. After that, assuming the island does not incur much damage in my absence, it should then be a relatively simple matter to hold it together long enough for Catherine to return to Riven and evacuate the remaining islanders. Predetermining a signal without knowing the topography of the island may prove to be impossible, but I'm afraid there can be only one answer to the question of whether or not I should send my friend to Riven with a way out. The potential for failure will be greatly diminished if the prison book is all that is taken there. Excuse me, hiccups. I'm sure my father is expecting me to bring a linking book to Riven. May he not be disappointed. So, yeah, we are, about a week and a half after the original Mist. I don't know if that's supposed to be like 1987 or not. I would assume so, but it could be by a Dunny calendar instead. This game did come out in Mist 1 came out in 93, I want to say? 94? Riven came out in 97. Sorry, I just pulled it off my shelf to check. And, 93 for Mist. All right. So that gives us basically everything we need to know to start the game. We're here to find Gen and convince him to use the prison book so that he's trapped. So that way Atrus can come and get Catherine and help Catherine evacuate Riven, which is, a quickly deteriorating age. The world is basically literally falling apart. But we need to find a way to affect a large enough change on this world that Atrus will be able to know that, everything's ready. That Gen is trapped. So that has to do with the Star Fissure. All right, how do I get out of here? Oh, there we go. All right, so that gives us a clue. Gives us some ideas of what to do. And you can actually take a look at these. So this, I think, is the story of Gen. So this is, you know, it's kind of like a stained glass type mural type thing. So this is like chopped logs, people worshiping a book, the hand of God, basically. That would be Gen. Oh, basically chopping logs. Oh shit, he's trying to get them to make books. I forgot that. Like I said, it's been a long time since I played this game. Maybe the dunny inscriptions on the walls would, you know, help tell us what's actually going on here. So yeah, this is, you know, Gen writing the book and creating everything. So I think this might actually be the first one. We started at the wrong one. Yeah, so yeah, this is Gen writing a book and creating life out of it. Yeah, basically setting himself up as a god.